Do you remember that? That was our original opening when we first started the show. Hello and welcome. I am so out of my comfort zone today, so I hope that you will 100% jump on board and help me get through this today. But we had planned a really exciting show today where we were going to look back, and we're still going to do that. And I'm super excited about it. We have prizes to give away from local businesses, but we wanted to do this awesome show, and my buddy Scott is feeling under the weather. So I am going to be talking to you, but sitting by myself, feeling like I'm talking to myself. So please engage today. I have some amazing clips to show you and some really great prizes to give away today. But I'm going to need your help to keep going because we all know it sucks to talk to an empty screen. So if you are here, if you're already here, if you're just now joining, or if you catch up later, let me know you're here over here in the comments. Let me know if you're watching on Facebook. Let me know if you're watching on LinkedIn. Let me know if you're watching on YouTube. We got our YouTube numbers last week and they were crazy. So pretty exciting. Oh, look, I've already got people starting. Thank you guys so much because this is so weird, but I'm so excited about today's show. So hi, Mike. Thank you for watching. I'm really excited. So everybody else jump in here because I need to know people are there because I have prizes to give away today and I'm super excited. And if you have a chance, reach out to Scott and tell him you're thinking about him. Tell him happy holidays. Let's get him back on his feet. He should be back by the beginning of the year. So let's just jump into it. If this is your first time watching, my name is Erin, and my buddy Scott and I love doing this show. This is kind of our weekly thing where we get to catch up and we get to really network with friends. We both love networking, and this has really become kind of our way to meet a lot of people and get to uplift other voices in the city, right? Scott and I have been very lucky that we've grown pretty big networks, but we were talking at the beginning of lockdown and we were having phone calls with a lot of people and they were saying, how are we going to meet people? How are we going to be social? And this show kind of came to be. And so I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that today. But first of all, you guys are totally making my day. I have been weirdly, I don't get stressed. I don't get weirded out by things. Pre-COVID, I went on stage, thousands of people. I love talking, but the idea of doing a recap show on my own today was kind of giving me a little run for my money. So thank you, random LinkedIn user, rock on. I appreciate you, Nick, and thank you so much for your kind posts today. Bill, thank you. I decided a holiday dress for myself. So Holly, thank you very much. Yes, we've only got a few days left. My kids, I think we're down to 4 days on our advent calendar, right? Hello, y'all. Thank you so much. If we do miss you, Scott, we miss you so much. And look, he's watching. He promised me he was going to watch, but he said the Christmas tree and I look beautiful. Thank you, Scott. As always, you better be resting because come 2022, we got a lot of stuff for everybody. This means your privacy settings are on, but thank you, random LinkedIn user. I really, really appreciate it. So, all right, guys. Well, I'm going to jump in and hopefully I can do this show justice because I am so incredibly excited. So let me give you a little history on the show if you don't know it. We all remember lockdown, right? March, April of 2020. What had happened the week of lockdown is Scott and I actually got a call from the Business Journal, and they said, "Hey, we're doing this article on networkers, and we'd love to." They called Scott. They said, "We'd love to interview." They called me. They said, "We'd love to interview you." And so essentially, this article had just come out, and then the world shut down. And Scott and I were on a few mutual phone calls, and people were freaking out, I guess is the best way to say it. And I don't know what it was about Scott and I. I think we probably just don't think 2 days ahead too often. So we were like, "Oh, it's going to be over." And we're trying to be really positive and uplifting for everybody. But then we kind of got lonely because we're very social people, right? And so I called Scott and I said, "Hey, I got this thing, LinkedIn Live. I've had this. Let's take advantage of it." I said, "What if because we also like to drink. If you know us, Scott and I like to drink. What if we just grabbed happy hour with some friends once a week? And first we were going to call it, fun fact, first we were going to call it Drinks with CEOs and with the CEO. And we started chatting through it. And I often don't let Scott make the marketing decisions, but this is the best decision. Are you listening, Scott? This is the best decision he ever made. He said, "Let's not call it with the CEOs because we have so many friends and we know so many people that are actually really good Kansas City leaders without the CEO title. And I would love to invite all them on." And I said, "You know what, Scott? You're absolutely right." So we called it Drinks with Leaders. We got drinks at 3:00. This is before any of us were driving anywhere. And we started this show. So we've been doing this show since, and I've got a cheat sheet over here because I want to be able to give you the right facts. So I actually even prepared for the show, which is really out of my comfort zone if you know me. We have been doing this show since April 21st, 2020. So our first giveaway is coming up right now. How many, and some of you mathematicians don't think you're always right, how many guests do you think we have had on since April 21st, 2020? Go and guess in the comments. The first one right is going to win a gift card. Since April 21st, 2020, we've decided to do this show. How many guests do you think that we have had on this show since April 21st, 2020? So we're about a little bit over a year and a half in, almost getting close to 2 years. How many guests? I will tell you, we have done 87 shows. So there's been a few weeks in there we haven't had some shows, but we have done 87 shows. We have done every single Tuesday since April 21st, except for 3. One of them being my birthday. And I don't know how that worked out. I think I blocked out my calendar for happy hour, so it didn't get booked. And the guess so far, I've got a guess of 104. Nope. If we get it within 5, I'll make it the winner. The first guess within 5. We've got 35. Nope. We've done 87 shows since April 21st, 2020. So since lockdown. So keep guessing. But essentially, or I'll give it a couple of minutes because people are starting to get kind of close. We have only missed 3 weeks. So we've been going. And it has not felt like work. We've loved every second of it. It was a really cool idea for us because Scott and I, our worlds are beginning to merge. But at this time, Scott and I had 2 very different worlds. Scott had his I called his Fortune 500 world or his blue blood world or anything that he hates me to call it. I call it that. But essentially, we had his more corporate-y world. And then we had my gritty, entrepreneurial, more diverse network. And we're like, what if we take these 2 worlds and we merge them? What if we just organically invite guests on and we merge them? What could happen? And I'm going to tell you what, I'm going to pull up some clips today, but magic has happened. That is what has happened. Okay, I've got somebody within 10. So I'll give you guys a couple more guesses. And if if nobody is closer, then I'm going to get here because I got somebody within 5. And of course, it's somebody with their privacy settings on. So let me get in here and look. Somebody's within 5 and they have their privacy settings on. If you guessed, if this is you, put your name back over here because I can't see your name. But if you guessed, random LinkedIn user, 320 guests, you are within 5. We've actually had 325 guests. So please tell me who you are over here. To Bill's point, we have added 8 guests that have repeated. So only 8 people have come on twice. Bill, you are one of them. Chris Culbertson came on because he came on one of our nonprofit shows and also to represent his business. Thayla Cherry, Jennifer Dehan, Ezzy Redwood, Maria Maffrey, Brian Schweitzer, and Michelle Robin. So Brian was also on there for a charity show, and Michelle was on there for the Honoring Bob Rainier show. So we have had 325 guests throughout the past year, and only 8 of those 325 were repeat guests. So who is my random LinkedIn 320? Tell me in the comments because I can't see your name. I guess I could get on my phone and look, but I'm trying to run a whole sort. Okay, here we go. Mike Miller, I'll send you directions afterwards, but congratulations. You actually won a $25 Charlie Hustle gift card. Speaking of Charlie Hustle, Chase McNulty was one of our guests on August 25th, 2020. So you guys will see a theme today when we are going to be bringing up, we're only giving away gift cards from past guest places. So we're really excited about this. So Scott says this research is amazing, Aaron. Scott, you are a great watcher as well. So, all right, well, let's start getting into clips. And we're going to keep playing games this whole time. So I kind of told you guys we had some repeat guests. Some of those repeat guests were because we had co-hosts. So we've had 4 co-hosts throughout this year and a half. Maria Maffrey was one. And actually, she brought both wine and a cupcake to my house before the show. And that was probably my favorite thing. So if you know Maria, I mean, she's awesome. She's so awesome. Ezzy Redwood, he owns the Wings Cafes and he's the vice president, Lillian James. He has stepped in for us so many times when we need co-hosts. So he's been a multiple co-host and we totally appreciate him. Jennifer Dehan, she was on our first show and she was a co-host and that was amazing. And Miss Wendy Reynolds, the former CEO of Bank of Blue Valley, and now she works for the holding company. She was also a co-host and amazing. So very excited about that. All right. I'm going to ask another trivia question, which is going to lead us into our first clip. All right. I'm very excited about this today. Throughout those 325 guests, we have had people from all over. Well, it's been Kansas City based, but all, like, if you can think of who's who, they've been on this show, right? And we've had some bigger athletes, I guess. So it's a big joke that I never know the athletes, but I actually forgot I put the questions up here, so I'm going to pull them up now. So how many Super Bowl winners / U.S. gold medalists have we had on? And there is a prize for this question leading into our next thing. How many Super Bowl winners / U.S. gold medalists have we had on the show? Let me know if you know. That's a 2-part answer, or maybe they're all the same person. I don't know. Start guessing over here. But I'm going to tell you, I'm going to pull up a clip from one of these people. So, you know, when you have 325 guests, deciding on which clips to pull it's hard because there's so much good content. But one of the things that I was really looking for is who gave out good leadership advice. What did I remember? Where did I get the goosebumps, right? Do you ever get goosebumps when you're listening to something? I've had a few times in here where I started crying, right? And I was kind of thinking through all of that. Mike Meyer already won. 3, absolutely. 3 is our answer. We have had 2 Super Bowl winners, being Chucky Okobe and Spencer Ware, both with their rings on. I'm terrible, but Spencer won with the Chiefs and Chucky won with Pittsburgh, maybe? If I'm wrong, tell me over here. But 3 is the answer. And then our next clip that we had actually is a gold medalist for women's football for the U.S. women's team. Her name was Kiki Blackman, and she was actually on this show very, very recently. And one of the coolest parts about this is this has not been announced, but I made sure it was okay to announce it today. Kiki actually was just awarded the Hallmark Leadership Award for the WIN luncheon that is coming up. So that's the WIN. That's for the Sports Foundation, which really looks at women's sports. So Kiki knew she had won that when she was on the show, but she wasn't allowed to announce it yet. One of my questions to her was, hey, I get it. Like, I'm a 42-year-old woman. I get how motivating you are for women, but you're also an Olathe East football coach, and you've got these boys, and you are what I found out just recently, you are the first woman, much less woman of color, which just adds to the amazingness, varsity football coach. She just got moved up to varsity. So this past year she was doing freshman, but she just got moved up. But you have already achieved these amazing things. An adopted mother of 5. She adopted 5 children. Like, she's done these amazing things. But how do you get, like, you can impress everybody, but you guys have got a freshman boy at home. The freshman boys are hard to impress. And I asked her, I said, how do you get those freshman boys to love you? Because this whole team loves her. Like, you would think that was Michael Jordan or LeBron or whoever they like walking in. They love her, right? I said, how do you get them? How do you lead them? How do you get them to listen? And I want you to hear her answer, because this could really be applied whether you're a coach or a CEO or a manager or just any sort of leadership position. This can really be applied. And it was one of those times that I was like, and you can see it in my face because I got that face when I'm really into something. So, all right, I want you to hear this. This is Miss Kiki Blackman.
Absolutely. I meet them where they're at. I don't try to go outside the box or anything like that. I meet them right where they're at. If I have to get on my knees to talk to them, I will. And they're all athletes. So one athlete, they may be different as far as coaches happen to what we use to get them ticked, I say, but they're all athletes. So we have to come at them and meet them where they're at. And where they are, I'm very transparent with them. I love them hard, and I coach them even harder. So I think that is why they respect me so much. As far as me not trying to talk over them or anything like that, I just meet them where they are and I tell them exactly how I feel about the situation, and I also listen to them. I listen to them because that that kind of if you will, lessen my questions for them just by listening. Because I can have 12 questions, but by me listening to them, they've answered 10. So then we're only having a conversation about 2. They're young men, they're young women, they're athletes, and I just hold them to a higher standard because they have a target on their backs, and so I hold them to those standards always.
Oh, she's good, right? She is so good. If you have the means, buy yourself a ticket to the Win Luncheon. It's coming up in February, I believe, but tickets are on sale now, and they'll be honoring her, the Hallmark Leadership Award, which is one of the biggest awards you can win in the city. And she is amazing, and I think that you should really be there. But go follow her. If you can't go, whether you go to luncheon or not, go follow her, because she just is. She's just starting to put out content. She's at the beginning of her content game, but I'll tell you what, I never, ever, ever, she's so motivating. She's so motivating. All right. So I'm going to do some transitions here, right? So we're talking about the Win Award, and Kiki's somebody I met this past year, and I really, really, really like her. But, it's kind of funny when you meet people, and then, at least in my career, I met people, and I have a podcast that I've done since 2016, 2017. And I had some amazing women, but then I never really talked to them afterwards. I didn't really make well of my networking piece there. So when this came back, I got to reach back out to people and ask them if they wanted to come on, right? And essentially, one of the things with my own story is this past year, 2021. So it's kind of a look back and a recap. I started living more authentically on who I was, right? We all kind of, I think, did that in 2020. We really decided what was important to us, decided what our lives should look like. And when people weren't paying attention, what do I really want and what makes me happy? And I came out I came out as LGBTQ this past year, and it's kind of funny how this show has worked in my life. And I can't tell Scott's stories. I have a couple of clips that Scott wanted to see that I put in here today, but I can't tell Scott's story. But what I can say is he's been a huge supporter. And right as I was doing that, the way that we do the show, it's very organic. We send a link, and then people just choose the date that it works for them. So they never know who else is coming on, and they find out the same time everyone else finds out when we put out the invite, right? And so right in that time when I kind of was I don't want to say struggling, because I had so much support, but when I was kind of making everything make sense in my mind, this next guest actually came on, and she had told me this story a few years ago, and I asked her if she'd be comfortable telling it on Drinks with Leaders. And you can definitely apply it to business. You can definitely apply it to any parts, but just how much difference one person can make in somebody's life, I thought this story needed to be reshared. So we were talking about Kiki Blackman, who won the Win Award. And this actually happens to be the executive director for WIN, Miss Jessica Blubaugh. So I want to share a story that she shared with us. She was on the show early June, and I wanted to share the story because it was just so amazing. So just remember, one person can make a huge difference. And if that one person happens to be on LinkedIn that has made a huge difference in your life, tag them so that they can see that you're thinking about them. But I'm going to share Jessica's story with you right now because, you know, that day, I don't know if you're going to see it in my face, but I was about at tears. And this made a really, really big difference to me. And hearing the story, I think, could make a really big difference to a lot of people.
Absolutely, happy to. Let's see. When I was in high school, I'm going to sound super dated because I think Manhattan High has like a really active students. I think it's Gay Straight Alliance is what they call it. But there was a high school counselor at the time who I think recognized in a number of us across the board that we were kind of struggling as individuals, and she sort of covertly organized what I would call the first Gay Straight Alliance in our school, and she would basically write passes for the six of us to get out of class, and we would meet because at the time it was not an administrator sanctioned gathering. She would write passes for us to get out of class. And the six of us would meet in like what was essentially a janitorial closet, which is hilarious that we were in the closet meeting in a closet, but brought together like six kids that were, you know, sort of like breakfast clubby, if you will. Like we were from all different walks of life. Like I was the jock and the athlete, and there was a woman who was in theater and a kid who was sort of, you know, I was in high school in the 90s, so he was goth. And wore a lot of black and painted his fingernails black. And it was just this transformational and informative experience, I think, of having an adult who recognized that there was something that each of these kids had in common and had the gumption and the fortitude to go around what was frankly the administration and do what the kids needed, which was find each other. We wouldn't have found each other, I think, on our own. And to have that adult who was willing to advocate and be an ally and to create a safe space for kids to talk and connect. And, you know, I think that was a pivotal moment for me in my coming out experience because I was in high school, I was figuring it out. And it was, you know, sports was an outlet for me always. But I think that there's that need for connectivity and that need for representation, right? And kids each other in themselves and each other and around the school. So it almost became like a little club on some level that like we'd see each other in the hallways and give each other like the head nod, like, oh yeah, like, we'll see you next week in the closet. But yeah, it was a pivotal moment for me and experience for me.
All right, I'm about to announce something big. I don't know. I did not ask to announce this, but it's out there, so I think I can announce it, so I'm going to announce it. But besides being an amazing leader, besides having an amazing backstory, besides being a really, really important person to a lot of people, Jessica just recently announced that she is running for city council. So she will be running in the 2023 election. So if you're looking for somebody awesome to support, that is Miss Jessica Blubaugh, and that is somebody you should support. And I'm not sure I'm even supposed to announce that, but I'm telling you, I'm all about it. So with that, we're going to go to our next contest. On Drinks with Leaders, we have had athletes, we have had leaders, we have had entrepreneurs, and we have had government officials, right? Why anyone in government would say yes to coming on a show with me and Scott, I do not know. But how many sitting government officials have we had on this show since April 2020? I do want to preface this because I don't know government very well. I know that shocks a lot of you. I don't know government super well. So I want to preface this that school board members, I did not count because we've had multiple school board members and I didn't know if I should count that as a government official. So in government official, how many sitting government officials have we had on this show? Start guessing over here. I've got another gift card coming for you. I don't think I told you, Mike Meyer, but you won a $25 gift card to Cherry Company, Thela Cherry. She was actually on our show twice, May 26, 2020 and July 6, 2021. If you do not know Thayla Cherry, go follow her. She is amazing and doing amazing things. So let's see. How many government officials have we had? I don't know who this is, but I wish if you can give me 17 sitting government officials, I got a whole new career path to follow. So, okay, we got another guest right here. Nick, you're getting close. 4 is very close. Anybody else? How many government officials do you think that we have had on this show? I'm frankly surprised any said yes to us. So I will tell you, Sly James was one of our first guests, but he is not currently or was currently sitting. So he does not count. But do we have a couple more guesses of how many? I see there's a lot of you guys on here. Just guess. If you're wrong, it's fine. It's fine. You're welcome, Mike. You're welcome. Keep guessing, guys. How many government officials? I think I got myself so worked up on the show. All right, keep guessing. I'm going to play one of them for you now.
Third district, we've been able to invest in digital inclusion in, an area that is not connected to broadband. So just really looking at ways to connect people digitally. We know that it should be a basic utility, right? Broadband. And so really being able to invest in that in very meaningful ways. But the list is long. You have to look at things from the glass half full versus, half empty. So there's a lot of great things that have happened in spite of the pandemic, including at the Black Healthcare Coalition, to connect with Elliot, what Elliot was talking about, we started screening for social isolation. And so just really trying to figure out individuals in the community that were, suffering in that way, and how do we connect them socially throughout, the pandemic, especially when you have a digital gap and a digital divide. The city is kicking off a decade of healthy aging. So looking at that blooming population and trying to figure out the built environment and how we plan for and make sure that there's very vibrant spaces for our aging population. So there's so many connections that are here. MBE, WBE, we've done a lot there in terms of transforming small businesses. And so just so much. I'm going to be quiet and let other people.
No, you're good. She is wonderful. That is Melissa Robinson. And she is, I'm going to get this right, so I'm going to look over here. She's the 3rd District Councilwoman for Kansas City, Missouri. And she was just talking about everything the city did for the past year and a half. So, Nick, I am gonna, and I've been totally fine. I swallowed the wrong way and now I'm losing it now that we're live, right? 2. The answer was 2. We had Melissa and we had Quentin Lucas, and both came on and both were amazing and both said yes to us, and we love that. So, all right. The next person that I want to play is Scott's favorite guest of the past 2 years, or most motivational, the one that gave him the goosebumps. And I thought it was pretty amazing. We were asking him, what motivates you? What gets you going? Why are you excited? And I'm sure you guys have seen this guy all over LinkedIn. I'm sure that you guys, he's been on the show twice, actually. I believe. Well, it was like 1.5 because his internet cut out, right? So I didn't count him on our twice, but we tried to have him on twice. We will have him on again soon. But he was Scott's absolute favorite guest. His name is Zeke. If you haven't followed him, you need to go follow him. But essentially, he made us all get goosebumps. He made us all blush, and he's amazing. And I'm going to play this for you.
But yeah, so coming back to me, my name is Zeke Nganga, and I am originally from Nigeria. I came to Kansas City in 2016 I want to go into civil engineering, but I had way too much energy and I have a little bit of OCD. So I was like, I don't think this is gonna work for me. So in 2018, I switched my major to business, which is what I'm doing right now. I'm in business administration with emphasis in finance. And fast forward, 2018 fall semester, I left UMKC for about a couple months and then came back to UMKC and I read, Think and Grow Rich, Rich Dad Poor Dad, The Power of Subconscious Mind. And when I read all those books, I was trying to figure out like, how can I bring value to other people? How can I be able to help young people be inspired to pursue their purpose? So I was just thinking along those lines of what can I build, and I literally told. I think it was two of my friends. I told them I'm starting an organization in 2 weeks, and we're just gonna be talking about purpose, just faith, and being able to understand who we are. And they were like, "Yeah, we should do it." I thought it was gonna say no, but they're like, "It's a cool idea." So that day came, and literally I was scared. I didn't know what I was gonna do. But we had that meeting, and ever since then the group started growing. And the podcast started in, I think it was spring semester 2019. That's when I started the podcast. And the goal for the podcast was just to get students, leaders, just talk about inspiration and motivation. And basically, I see that most students just go get a degree, but I believe it's not the degree you get. It's how valuable are you? What can you bring to the marketplace? And being able to connect people who have value is something that I'm really passionate about, and that's why I bring people who know what they're doing to come and tell me what they're doing, because I don't really know a lot about it. So that's kind of what I do with Fight Up KC. And I'm a person who's passionate about meeting people, learning, and being able to motivate and inspire young people, because I came from a really small town in Nigeria, a really poor town. So coming and being exposed to this Kansas City culture, diversity, it was a big hit for me. And this is one funny thing though. When I came to Kansas City, because I saw movies, New York City, Atlanta, all the tall buildings and everything, and then I came to Kansas City and it was like my small apartment, and I was like, dang, okay, this is pretty cool. This is pretty cool. I was like, okay, it's pretty cool. But it was a challenge just being able to transition from coming to a really small town to a big city in Kansas City. So I think it was a challenge for me, but being able to learn and put myself in different situations has helped me so far. So I'm honored to be here, and I want to be part of the conversation today. So thank you for bringing me on.
Listen, you guys. Okay, I'm all better now. I'm sorry I just started coughing for no reason, but I'm better now. So here we are. Zeke moved here from Nigeria, and he talked about fear, but he also talked about how if he didn't face that fear and do what he dreamed of doing, there was nothing on the other side, right? Like he had to face that fear. And it was so amazing because that seemed to be a constant thing people talked about. I had no idea when we started this show that people would be talking about their fears. I've often been told I talk too much about the ugly side of stuff versus all the good and pretty stuff, right? People say, well, nobody wants to know the losses. They want to know the wins. And I found it so amazing when we started the show that people would talk about their fears. They would talk about their losses. They would talk about what they would have done different, what lessons they learned. And Zeke was amazing. He's been an amazing friend to both Scott and I. But I think with Scott, that was Scott's. I said, I know you're not feeling well, but I need somebody that gave you the goosebumps while we were on the show. And he asked me to pull Zeke's. And I think Zeke was awesome. Jason says, what's up, Zeke? He also noticed Paul Long was on that show. That was a good show. Michelle Robin was on that show. We had all sorts of good people on that show. Jason says, what is good? Hi, Jason. How are you? So again, Zeke just graduated college. He moved here from Nigeria, and he's talking about fear. But we had another amazing guest who had his very own special show. So out of those, in your math is probably, if you're a math person, I probably threw you way off because I said we had 87 shows, but there were 3 Tuesdays we did not do that. That is because we also did a show on a Wednesday. And this show was very recently. This was the Honoring Bob Rainier show. So Bob Rainier was the founder of Bank of Blue Valley, our amazing sponsor. And Bob announced his, not all the way retired, but stepping away from day-to-day duties this past November. I guess it was November, but he'll be done at the end of December. And so we did a special show where Bob came on and he told his story. And if you guys are anything like me, I used to be like, and I know some of my friends are going to just kill me that are watching right now, but I used to not like believe in the universe or the woo woo stuff. And I was like, that's cute. That's cute. And I'm not going to say I'm all the way there yet, but it's funny how things work out, right? So we just watched Zeke, and he was talking about his drive to get past that fear. And we saw Michelle Robin on that show. And Michelle Robin has always been one of my dearest people, one of my favorite people. She's like mother to me. But there was another show, the show with Bob Rainier, where he invited 3 people that have been a lot to him through his career. And Michelle Robin was someone he also invited. And I thought that was so funny because I want to play this clip from Bob next for you, where you can see we're on 2 total opposites of the spectrum. Zeke is just starting his career. He's new to town, right? He's talking about facing fear, or his fear of failure. And now I want you to hear Bob talk about it. Bob's, he's talking about retirement. He's from this area. He built this area. You can get with Scott and he will give you the whole history of everything that Bob has built in this area. But he has built so much of Kansas City, specifically Overland Park, right? Right here where I live, there's a golf course that he's known for. There's all sorts of stuff. But he also talked about failure and what that fear of failure feels like. And when he started out his career, and I found it so interesting that there's so many parallels. And then on top of that, Michelle was on both of their shows. So I want you to watch this amazing clip from Bob right now.
I mean, these people are 21, 22, 23, and they are diving in. And I'm thinking to myself, that takes a lot of chutzpah. I mean, that just really, you've got to have a lot of confidence in that. And they're really, and I do think, I was always concerned about, fear of failure and not being able to get traction and do everything I needed to do. But in retrospect, getting started, even if it's a modest start or it's one that, where you have to back up and kind of recalibrate. I don't think that's a bad thing. I think you learn from all those experiences. And, I went on a chamber trip out to Silicon Valley once. And, that was one of the things. And it was really very foreign to me. I mean, this whole idea is they celebrate failure because, it's the opportunity to say, all right, this got to this level. But it kind of stalled and we need to go back and say what went right, what went wrong, and then they just jump right back in and try it in a different fashion. And a lot of the people that do that the second or third time end up being phenomenal successes. So it's just an interesting process.
Crazy, right? That Bob show, I don't know. I've owned my company for 6 years, and I don't know. There's probably 3 or 4 highlights over the past 6 years that I know I'll never forget. And I know that Bob show is going to be on there. That show was insanely, like, you ever been in a place where you're like, how did I get in this room? That was that show for me. I think both Scott and I the whole time were like, just looking at each other. Like afterwards we were like, what? We just wanted to drink with friends. How did this happen? But we were so lucky to be a part of that show. We've been so lucky to have Bank of Blue Valley sponsor and really pour into leaders around Kansas City. We've got a lot coming in 2022. We've been Scott and I, we love doing the show, but we also love doing in-person stuff. And we're going to do a lot more of that in 2022, but we didn't know if we'd be able to do it this past year. And so, we probably drive Bank of Blue Valley nuts because we're like, we want to do this and this and this and this. We're just waiting for, this COVID thing to go away one day. So that show was just, it was such a memory. And to be honest, there has only been one show that I've missed, and I was very, very sick. So I sat on the back end and ran the tech, and Scott was kind enough to host that day, and it would have just been a mess for all of you guys to watch. But there was one other show that I actually had to pull myself out of for a little bit. And this is not going to be the most exciting part of the show or the most uplifting part of the show, but I could not close out the year without this. This year we lost one of Kansas City's best leaders. And we did talk about it on our show in April, but I want to talk about it again because not only was she one of Kansas City's best, not only was she one of the best in marketing in the world, she was a great mentor and becoming a pretty good friend of mine. She really looked out for me. She made some intros for me. And, Scott and I were just so lucky to meet her. And unfortunately, back in April, and I'm trying to tell you, she was on our show right at the end of December 15th, so almost a year ago today. Well, a year ago, a few days ago. We're close to Christmas, but a year ago, she was on our show. And I just remember thinking in that show, she is just so full of grace. She's so humble. She has accomplished everything. Why is she so kind? She's what a leader should be like. Kim Yates, if you were lucky enough to know her, you were really, really lucky. And unfortunately, she passed away April 14th this year. But I wanted to play a little clip of when she was on our show because she was talking about some of the stuff she did. And sometimes I don't think people understand. There have been people on this show, people that we're all get to be around at different networking events that have done the most of the most of the most. And Kim Yates was one of those. She had accomplished everything. And I found this clip when I was going through them, and I just wanted to play it for her because I was thinking about her. So here we go.
I don't think I set out to do that, but, Scott alluded to, because I worked for Procter & Gamble for all those years, I had the opportunity to work on these giant brands. And the thing about a company like P&G is brands really do stand the test of time. And so when they stand the test of time, that can be a good thing, but what can also happen is they can become irrelevant over time. So my first experience with a brand turnaround was the Old Spice brand. And when I worked on Old Spice, it was old. It was not the Old Spice brand that we know today. And there were some really smart people before me that had set a vision. And then we did some things and took it from number 4 to number 1. And then it went on to do great things after that. And then I landed on the Secret deodorant brand, which again was the number 1 brand, but had gotten old. There was a campaign about Jack and Shirley. I don't even know what that was about. Everything was just old about it. It had worked and worked and worked. And when things work, I think people say, well, it's, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So things hadn't gotten fixed and they just had become out of touch. I did the same thing with Pampers, which was P&G's biggest or largest brand. And I worked on that at a time when motherhood was changing, the internet was changing motherhood, maternity wear was changing, strollers were changing, everything was changing. And so Pampers needed to change too. So I don't know that it was intentional, but it's kind of become my thing. And I really love, I really believe that brands are almost like people. They have their own personalities and they have a lifespan and they have things that make them great and things that make them not so great. And it's really our job as brand stewards and marketers to nurse them back to health, to revitalize them, to put them in the right path to growth. And I just love doing that. And to your point, it's kind of a combination of so many things. It is very much about understanding your brand positioning and really what does the brand stand for. It's about the innovation pipeline. So having products that make the brand feel new and fresh and different. It's about the marketing and how you communicate to consumers. And Erin, to your point, increasingly, that's so much in the digital space, right? We're getting messages. It doesn't mean that TV still doesn't work, but we're getting messages in such a 360 way, whether it's on social media, whether it's e-commerce, whether it's PR. I mean, things are just coming at us in a million different ways. And so we really have to attack all those angles as we seek to reinvent these iconic brands.
Mitch said Kim was amazing, and she absolutely was. And every time she talked, she added value. And we were very lucky to have her on this show. And I just wanted to make sure that we remembered that. Changing up just a little bit, Nick, earlier you won with your 3. We really had 2, Quentin Lucas, Melissa Robinson. Remember, I was choking, almost dying. So I got a little sidetracked. But your gift card that you won is actually from Rieger. Andy Rieger was on the show September 21st, 2020. So we're going to get you a $25 gift card to Rieger. I was just there this weekend. I got my boys, my 15 and 12-year-old to go down the slide. It was a good time. So send us pictures when you are on that slide. All right, guys, we got a couple more here, and then we're going to be done for the year. Here is the deal. Last year, our last show of the year, we got insanely lucky. Okay, this is where I'm going to challenge you, so be ready. We got insanely lucky last year. And Les Brown, the world motivational speaker, one of the best motivational speakers in the world renowned, all the things, agreed to come on our show. right? So Scott and I got to do a whole hour of the last show of the year listening to him motivate our audience and motivate us. We were like ready to go into 2021. And we got to take questions from you and he got to answer them. And the whole thing was just goosebumps and mind blowing. And what is my life? Like Scott and I wish you guys could hear our conversations. We always stay in this little weight room after we go. Everyone stays here. I go, okay, we're not live anymore. And then everyone jumps off and me and Scott always just go, what is our lives? We love this. How did this happen? And last year we got to do it with Les Brown. And somebody asked him, because we were taking your questions and it was amazing. And somebody said, what are your goals going into 2021? And I actually wanted to play his answer and have you think about this going into 2022. I know this is the time where we're all starting to do our goals and think through, but I was like, well, what are your goals? What are my goals? And when he answered this, it was just one of the best things ever. And I want you to hear this. And then don't worry, we're definitely going to do an icebreaker today. So start writing down your goals or tell me what you think about this in the comments. Remember, I'm talking to a computer, so I need all of the engagement I can get right here. But this is last year when somebody that was watching Drinks with Leaders asked Les what his goals were.
What is your New Year's resolution for 2021?
I don't have a New Year's resolution. I have a commitment with my life as I look into 21. What I'm doing now, one, taking a personal inventory. What is it I need to change about me? I'm not wearing a crown or hat. You know, I'm like the lady who said, Lord, I ain't what I want to be, ain't what I'm going to be, but thank God I sure ain't what I was. What is it about me? My eating habits, my not wanting to exercise, do what you know, not what you feel. My relationships, the habits and the behaviors that's an asset to me versus a liability, that I've got to look at that. Paul said, I must die daily. There are parts of us that must die, that we must leave here in 2020 as we look at 2021 and things that we want to get done. And I'm clearing things out from me that I'm not taking into 2021. I'm putting my foot down and say, no, that's not me any longer. I used to not say no, but I learned to say no. No, I'm not going to do that. No, I'm not interested in that. No, I don't want to hear that story because it soaks up time. Other thing is, I called a friend the other day and they were cleaning out their closet in their garage. I'm going through my telephone. I'm deleting people out of my telephone. There are people that you don't want to take with you into 2021 because you can't become the person that you were meant to be. Sidney Poitier wrote a book called The Measure of a Man. He said, when you go for a walk with someone, something happens without being spoken. He said, either you adjust to their pace or they adjust to your pace. Whose pace have you adjusted to? You earn within $2,000 to $3,000 of your closest friends. And so I decided I'm looking at and evaluating and asking the question, what kind of person am I becoming because of this relationship? I heard a lady say the other day, I left my husband 11 years ago and he never knew it. Now, most people will say, well, what's up with him? But I would look at her and say, why didn't you have the courage to leave physically? You left mentally. You weren't in the marriage. You were there because it was a convenience. He paid the bills, but she didn't have the courage to leave physically. And he was probably disconnected from her mentally, but he was singing B.B. King's song, It's Cheaper to Keep Her.
Is that really a song?
Yeah. And so the Bible says, be of good courage. It takes courage to walk away, to say, this is no longer me. This is not the life that I want to die with. I want something new and have an expanded vision of what's possible, to stretch your faith and challenge the impossible. and give it everything that you have.
It's good, right? That is so good. That had us so revved up for 2021. And I will tell you, there were words in there that I heard. The big piece for me that I went into 2021 about was it was okay to say no. And I did say no this year. And it was hard for me at first, but it always worked out in the end. I want to pull this up. Toby says, why wait to make a change? Do it now and commit to it. Be held accountable by telling others. Resolutions are a farce. And Toby, I think that Les would 100% agree with you. And I think that is great advice. Thank you for joining us, Toby. All right, guys. Well, we got about 10 minutes left. I can't believe this is almost over. I worked this up in my head all day long, wondering if I could pull this off. So I really appreciate you sticking through with me. Here's the deal. I am going to pull up I think everybody that watches this show knows my absolute least favorite part is the icebreaker, but it is Scott's absolute favorite part. And I know it would make him sad if we took it out. So we do this icebreaker every single week. So I'm going to tell you what our icebreaker is now, but I got to have you watch this video while we're talking about it. We did this icebreaker. We did a fun breakfast with some friends this week, and we did this icebreaker, and I thought it was a great one. We did it last week here too. What is your favorite Christmas tradition? I want you to answer that. What is your favorite Christmas tradition? Put it over here in the comments, and I want you to watch this video. If you want to focus on my face and how miserable I am all the time, that's fine. If you want to focus on Scott's face and how excited he is every time, that's fine. But I could not do this show without Scott, without doing this video on there first. So Scott's favorite part is always this icebreaker. And here is a little compilation of his icebreaker questions. And put your answers of your favorite Christmas tradition or holiday tradition in there.
So the icebreaker, I'm more interested in the food than I am the movie. So if you're going to the movie theaters, what is one of your favorite? You can do one or multiple favorite movies of all time to see in the theater. But more importantly, if you can get one thing at that snack bar, what do you get?
What is I know you all get asked to speak in front of people like today, but what are the advice you give to young people in terms of figuring out what they want to do in business or how they work hard or how they become successful? So I don't know if there's some advice you have for young people on how to be successful, but what is the advice you typically give young people? And then what was your favorite cafeteria food as a child in elementary school or middle school? So something good personally, professionally, elementary school, middle school, cafeteria food. You go.
Yeah.
Okay.
If we are going to a sporting event, what is it that you are eating? You can go to Chicago, you can go to Kansas City. What is that prized item that you are going to eat if you're going to a stadium, any sporting event?
Audience, please feel free to comment, but we will start with you, Sherry. What is your favorite Disney movie that you enjoy watching with your family?
One, what is your order at Chipotle? And number two, speaking of adventures, it doesn't need to be, this isn't one of those things where we hold people to, hey, you got to go do your dream. But I think Beth inspired all of us of saying yes to an adventure. So what is an adventure you want to say yes to that, maybe you just haven't made time for? So your Chipotle order and an adventure that you want to say yes to. Favorite Christmas tradition, Jackie?
Scott, I hope you love the video. Scott is actually on here commenting, but he's commenting as the admin of our page. Oh, totally the best part. I tell you, Scott loves that icebreaker. So thank you guys for always playing along. Thanks for sticking through that last 5 minutes of the show. Every time we really, really appreciate it. So favorite Christmas tradition, making rum balls with my kids and giving them away as gifts. Christmas Eve service followed by snacks, appetizers, and Home Alone. Oh, I love Home Alone. John Christie says Christmas Eve, appetizers for dinner. Appetizers for dinner seems to be a thing. I need to do this. And watching our dogs open their stockings. So it sounds like y'all have a lot. Keep sharing over here. Thank you so much. I will tell you, I am so excited for 2022. We have some amazing things happening in 2022. We are actually going to be changing up the format of the show. We are going to be having once a month, we are going to have a shorter show, a 30-minute show with a major leader in town one time a month. So you get some one-on-one time with some big names that most of them I've never even had a chance to meet. And this will be Scott's first time meeting them. So we're really excited about that. We've got some amazing guests already booked, and we've got a lot of cool things. And we are hoping, praying, wishing, all the things that we will get to have our first in-person event. And you will be invited because it is because of you we have had such an incredible past year and a half. We want to thank our sponsor, Bank of Blue Valley, because if it wasn't for them, I don't know if we'd still be doing this, because we were having just such a blast. And when they came to us, they said, we want to be a part of this. And we were like, absolutely. And it just got us even more invigorated for it. So we've had such a great time. Thank you all so much for being with us the past year and a half. Honestly, this is going to be our last show of 2021. We're going to be going into 2022 ready to really rock your mind. Thank you so much. If you have a guest that you would like to see on this show, could you please PM me and we will make sure that we invite them on this show. If you have any ideas for the show, please PM me and I'll consider them. I never want to say for sure I'll do them, but I will consider them. We are so blessed to know you all. We are so blessed to have your support. And we hope you have a wonderful holiday season and a wonderful new year. And we'll see you. Get ready. It's my favorite joke of the year. We'll see you next year. Bye-bye.